Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 30th of January 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, guys, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the Euro Stoxx 50. So we rarely look at this one, but to be honest, at the same time, it's very important to also keep a close eye on it, and just to see how overall the European market looks like. So for now, you can see that we are trading above this downside resistance line taken from the highs of the 27th of September. But to be honest, the move higher is not as drastic as you probably could expect. So in a way, we are also trading above a few key support areas like the 3,125 zone. And for now, what we're going to keep on monitoring is, of course, this 3,185 level, which is also not far from the 100 EMA here, shown as the green line. So in a way, for now, guys, keep an eye on that one. Certainly, you can see that yesterday's daily candle ended in the positive territory, but kind of failed to close even above the previous day's opening price. So of course, on one hand, it seems to be somewhat more positive, but on the other hand, we still need to kind of remain cautious, because if this fails kind of drive above these let's say this week's highs even, which were around the 3,165 level approximately there. Now this of course should kind of worry us a little bit, and of course we could start aiming for a little bit lower here, and but again, as long as we remain trading above this downside, this short-term downside resistance line here, well, we could in a way see this line as a nice bouncing ground for the index, for the bulls to drive this one back up here. In a way, like I said, for now, just keep an eye on that one. Of course, this is the area where we're going to remain somewhat more neutral. We're just going to observe some key levels. In a way, if we're going to get a nice pop above the 3,185 zone, this is where it could become more exciting for more bulls here, and we could see this one traveling further up here. And of course, we will initially target the let me just kind of put a few levels here on our chart. Let me just recycle some of these lines, and this is where we're going to target the 3,245 level initially, but again, slightly above that, we do have another good potential area of resistance around the 3,260 mark, or in a way, if you like your moving average lines, then you could in a way target all the way here, the area all the way toward the area around the 200 EMA here, shown on the daily chart. So, and that would be around the 3,275 level. But again, of course, let's go step by step. First, let's see if it wants to actually travel higher here above this 100 EMA or the 3,185 level. If it doesn't, if it wants to remain here, well, like I said, we're going to stay neutral, somewhat neutral here. And for us to, let's say, start examining the downside, well, we need to see a nice good drop here below this downside resistance line, and of course then a break below this key area of support near the 3,040 level. So only then we will target much lower levels, of course going for the psychological 3,000 level or even lower. But again, for now it's a little bit further away from this scenario, so let's see what it wants to do with this level first, or in general if it wants to actually do anything with it. So let's keep an eye on it. Jumping into gold now, this one is well, skyrocketing, let's put it that way, and popping higher after Friday's nice push higher here. Of course, this showed the direction where gold has to travel now, and We managed to break a few key areas of resistance, of course, and of course breaking the important 1308 level. The next potential target here that you could keep an eye on is this level right here. Let me just put that quickly on the chart. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the high here near the 1326 level, so marked by the high of the 11th of May, and this is something that you could in a way target. But given the fact that from the very short-term perspective, this looks quite overbought already, so let me just jump into a 4-hour chart on this one, guys, and this is what I'm talking about. So in a way, you can see that it is on the shorter time frame here, smaller time frame. From the shorter term perspective, it is slightly overbought. So in a way, you can see that it's currently moving a little bit lower away from the R1, and the question here is, are we actually going to see something like a slide lower here where we're going to test the pivot, which is around the 1309, or even actually, like I said, the level that level here that I've mentioned before, the 1308. Are we going to have a retest of that from above? And of course, this is where it will be interesting to watch, because if this provides a good support here, we could see a rebound here and a push back up, where we could then eventually target the 1326 level, or even higher. But again, the 1326 kind of shows to be quite an important, significant level here. So for now, guys, long story short, basically we are retracing slightly lower. Let's see how this 4-hour candle is going to end. We could see a potential slide lower here towards the 1308, 1309. Keep an eye on that one. But if this area starts getting broken, well, if this area gets broken, well, brace yourselves. We could maybe go further down here to retest the psychological 1300 level, or even slightly below that, the 1297.50 area, which acted as a good support on the 28th of January. So keep your eyes on that one. Of course, for now, guys, we are slightly retracing back to the downside. Be very careful. You could, in a way, if you do want to, let's say, enter short here, well, probably the suggestion is have a very tight stop loss, maybe even actually near these highs around the 1315.50, something like that, and yep, just to kind of avoid this potential maybe strong reversal back to the upside, sharp reversal back to the upside, and a move towards the R2, which is around the 1317, or should I maybe even actually round it up towards the 1318 level. So for now, guys, keep your eyes on the 1309, 1308. Let's see if that actually plays out or not. But at the moment, because the commodity is slightly on the overbought territory, and let's see if it actually retraces back down a little bit. Jumping into US oil now, before we look at the 4-hour chart, let's have a look at the daily. You can see that we had a good reversal here yesterday. Certainly there are talks about the potential shortages of the Venezuelan oil, and of course this could play out, and if we see more sanctions on Venezuela, and I mean, this could, like I said, this could lead towards the shortages in oil, which could in a way force the price to travel a little bit higher here. So in a way, for now, because we're the commodity stuck here between these two key areas, between the 50.35 on the downside and the 54.60 on the upside. So in a way, we're going to continue monitoring these. A nice good pop above the 54.60 level could drag this price higher, maybe even actually going towards the 57.50, or even actually testing this 200 EMA, which is currently around the 59.90 level. Of course, you probably understand that we're not far from the psychological 60 level here as well. So in a way, we could target that if we get a nice pop above the 54.60 level first. On the downside, if this suddenly decides to drop and starts dropping below the 21 EMA, which is here, this is of course from the shorter term perspective. So the area to watch here from the short term perspective is the 52 level. So a nice good drop below the 52 level could signal further declines, maybe actually, like I said, going towards this low here around the 50.35, which I've mentioned previously, and this is where the big action could start. And if the bears remain in control, we could see a drop here and a further decline lower. But for now, it seems that the downside could be slightly off the table, guys. So keep your eyes on that one. Let's see how this develops, and let's also don't forget to watch the what's happening on the political arena as well. And jumping into XRP-USD, which is Ripple, and I was talking about this one a few videos ago, and basically I was telling you guys to keep an eye on this upside support line, this kind of flattish upside support line that has been running here from the lows of September last year. So we managed to break that to the downside, but also what I've mentioned to you guys as well in one of my previous videos, to keep a close eye on this level right here, the 0.2865 zone, approximately there. You can see that it continues to hold the price from dropping lower, and of course if we suddenly do get a drop here, then, well, I mean, this could lead to maybe much further declines, maybe even actually going all the way towards the 0.2465 level, which was last time tested. And let me just drag this chart back into history here. Last time tested in August 2018, so basically the lowest point of August 2018. So good potential area of support, but again, only if we're gonna get a drop below the 0.2865 level. So keep your eyes on that one. As you probably now understand, that if this suddenly reverses back up here and travels above this upside support line, of course this could be that first signal for the first sign for the bears to start worrying. But if Ripple kind of manages to get above the 0.3130 level, now this is where it could become a bit more exciting for the bulls. We could see this one, maybe this crypto traveling further up here and touching the 0.3545 level. But then again, for now, like I said, we're just gonna continue observing this area where this is where we're a little bit more on the neutral side, and like I said, keep your eyes on the 0.2865 level on the downside, and on the upside, the 0.3130 level. And the last pair for this video session here, I mean, I would like to have a look at GBPUSD. Now, certainly, of course, if you're following the whole Brexit madness, certainly yesterday the the pound got a hit after the UK Parliament vote on amendments. So what's interesting here is that yes, we did have a nice break here below the 130 level. So now we're kind of the pair traveled further down, managed to close the daily candle below the 130.80 level. Excuse me. Managed to close the candle below that level. So now what's happening here is that you can see today we had already a retracement back up here, and actually let me just jump back into the 4-hour chart on this one, and you can see that, yep, it traveled higher, almost managed to reach the pivot, but kind of failed to do that. Currently sitting just slightly above the 130.84 level, 83, something like that. So we're going to continue monitoring this. So in a way, from the very short-term perspective, guys, you can also see that we're trading above this upside support line taken from the lows of January this year, and this is of course what we're going to keep on monitoring, because if this suddenly decides to drop below these yesterday's lows, and let me just put that on the chart quickly, this is the level to watch out for. So the 130.60 levels, this is where we're going to be keeping a close eye on. The 130.60 could be that gateway towards slightly lower levels, and the area that we're going to target, of course, is this in the psychological 130 level initially, but slightly below that we do have this upside support line that could also provide some support, and of course we could see maybe a rebound here and then we'll push back up here. But for now this pair is quite a tricky one, and keep your eyes on the downside here for today. Especially keep your eyes on the 130.60. If we do get a break below this, this could lead towards further declines towards the psychological 130 level, or even actually towards a retest of this upside support line. On the upside, well, we would need to see this one traveling back above the 130.135 level, and only then we'll consider a further move higher, again maybe going back towards the highs that we saw already the highs of this, oh sorry, the highs of this week. Yes, I do apologize for that, guys. So yeah, if we get a nice pop above the 130 135 level, keep your eyes on these higher levels, and maybe we could eventually go and reach the 132.20, or even actually going further up here. But for now, it seems that it could be the upside could be slightly off the table, especially given the fact that we're still trading below this pivot here for today's daily pivot, and on the downside. But wait for downside here, wait for a possible break here below the 130.60, and then you could potentially target much lower levels. Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching and listening, and I hope you found it useful. And if you want to join me later on in my traders tea time, and that's 14:15 GMT time. But for now, I hope you have a wonderful trading day. Stay safe, be careful, and always have your stop loss in place, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.